Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of musical mayhem. And today is Friday, which is Seven Song Friday. However, we're going to be instituting a new. Well, we're doing a look at a certain CD or a certain band's career, or just what makes a great CD once a month. We're also now going to look at a musical or a movie that has music as its main point. For musicals, it has to have at least 5 songs. For stuff like Footloose or possibly, the newer stuff, Flashdance, good luck with me getting me to watch that one. But Fame, the movie Fame, they have to have, it has to be essential to their core. It's not like, Ragnarok, the Marvel movies have used a really great use of music, but it's not essential to the movie. So, having said all that, that's the rule. So that today we're not going to talk about any particular movie, even though it looks like we're going to talk about heavy metal. We may do that next week, but not today. We're just going to go through some songs from movies and just like we're going to go through 7 songs from 7 different movies that are either musicals or have music as their emphasis. And I know I'm stretching it a little bit with heavy metal and one of the other ones, but they're pretty essential to that particular time frame. So having said all that, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. You can vote in the poll today if you're listening or watching on Spotify. And let's rock and roll. All right, so we are going to talk about heavy metal right away because that's just what came up first. And this particular scene in the movie appears sort of, kind of, but with the Howard Chaykin art, it looks a lot different than what the poster did. So there's the song that introduced the world to the concept of heavy metal. It was released before the movie, and the AOR snore stations would play it. I mean, that's album-oriented rock. That's Don Felder, the former lead guitarist, well, one of the lead guitarists of the Eagles, and an excellent overall guitarist. I'm not sure if he wrote this one, but I really liked the song, and I was super excited to see this. It was released in 1981 and rated R. Your humble agent was not actually old enough to see this in the theater. Probably could have gone anyway, but unfortunately I was a rule follower back then and didn't go see it. I didn't see it again for another 2 years till I was 18 on HBO, and they were showing it round the clock almost. I wanted to like it more than I did. I've liked it more as I've grown up and learned about the movie and learned from what perspective it was made, and we will talk about all that. But so this song is not the lead song in the movie. I think Sammy Hagar's Heavy Metal shows up before it. The soundtrack is half good. Some songs I really enjoy, and a lot of them were these from bands that no one had ever heard of, or I hadn't, at least not in Fossil Bed, Colorado, which is nothing unusual. In fact, this is where I learned that Don Felder had been in the Eagles, which is just shocking to me at this point in time. It's like you're running away on some high octane. Every time you need to. And now we get to this is actually called Taking a Ride, heavy metal, Taking a Ride. And it doesn't show up, I don't know, until 2/3 of the movie in, and a wonderful Bernie Wrightson segment. So it doesn't fit the movie, the segment at all. But, the song's, 40 plus years old now, which is just astounding to me. And it's so nice to see 2-dimensional animation hand drawn anymore. It's just wonderful. Take a ride, So that's as much as we're going to get here. I don't want to, I mean, YouTube is notorious. Wait, let's see. There's Tarna the Terrakian and her ride. That's what she looked like in the movie when she had clothes on. Okay, so our next one here, you will all know. I mean, it is from an actual musical, and it is The Word. We got a loving thing, we gotta feed it right. There ain't no danger we can go too far. We start believing now that we can be who we are. So that's Frankie Valli singing the soundtrack, the theme song for Grease, as produced by the Bee Gees. I mean, if you know it's produced, it's that's got the Bee Gees sound from the '70s. By '78, when this movie came out, 78, yeah, that's when I saw it in the theater. By the '78, when this movie came out, the Bee Gees had fallen completely out of favor, and that's not their fault. That disco music, just Saturday Night Fever happened, and they got blamed for it. Essentially, I mean, but they still continue to produce a lot of songs. Very talented, and if you see some of their original stuff from, when they're very young, they're pretty funny kids, and so more power to them. I know the artist formerly known as Tamikaze loves their disco stuff, but me, I can take it or leave it. But here we go, Grease Lightning, and they're not doing any of their obscenities. I still can't believe the things they got away with in this movie. If you ask Lilith, her mom let her watch it a million times at a very young age. Well, if there had been video back then. All right, so there's Grease. This is probably not going to be a very long episode because we're just doing this. So here we have the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which we have talked about in the past, but we're going to play the theme or the opening song, science fiction double feature, but it is going to be by, they used to be called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Now they're Spike and the Gimme Gimmes, which I really like, and they're supposed to be in Denver at some point. A little different, but I really like Me First. They do punk rock versions of covers essentially, but punk rock style. They've done Take Me Home, Country Roads, Goodbye Earl, which your humble agent can play on the guitar, and this one of just many. So they're a lot of fun. I'd be willing to bet they're a lot of fun to see in concert. They are obviously Spike and the Gimme Gimmes are a pseudonym for some of the band. I don't know which one's Spike. So there you go. Let's play a little more of this one. If they make this 4-minute song last 2.5. So probably surprising no one, I have most of those movies. I don't have The Day the Earth Stood Still on disc of any kind, and I don't have The Day of the Triffids. I do love this movie. We have not talked about it. We've talked. It's been featured. The songs have been featured, but the movie hasn't, and it's a true musical. All right, and now another. I can't tell if this one's quite a musical or not, but that's young Johnny Depp there. Set in the 50s. All right, let's. So that's John Waters film featuring Johnny Depp and Iggy Pop's in it, Ricky Lake, Tracy Lord, Susan Terrell, Polly Bergen, And it's got a great soundtrack, some covers, some originals here. I don't know which is which. Uh, I like it. I'd like to see it again. I mean, the DVD went out of print, and I think that the Blu-ray, there might be a Blu-ray out of it, but it is a John Waters movie, so it's bizarre. But it's about the squares versus the norms and things like that. And look at how young he looks, like he's 12. Oh, he's got his little tear. I didn't realize he had the teardrop there. So that's James Intfeld singing the song. I think Johnny lip syncs a lot of it, but I don't. It's just weird. I don't know that it's a musical per se. I'd have to watch it again because I count a musical as when people just break into song to help with the movie, the exposition of the movie, rather than having a song play in the background at a dance, or when they're mournfully sitting in the rain, wondering why their girl has left them because they've been unreasonable, or vice versa. So I'd have to watch it again and see if it's a true, what I would consider a true musical, which means that they have to be singing during the movie while something is going on to further the plot. All right, and now we've got Shock Treatment, and we've talked about this from 1981 as well. Oh, come on.
Ever since I was a little boy, dressing up has always been my greatest joy. But when it's time to be discreet, there's one thing you just can't beat.
Anyway, that's the sequel, the semi-sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think it's a good movie. This is another one I'd like to see once more. It's been a decade since I've watched it. I didn't pay enough attention to it. And I like this too. Before reality TV. Oh, Arrow Video. Ooh, that's a tricky one because they do good work. So the song's called Little Black Dress. I thought there was a Shock Treatment. I guess I could have played the Ramones Gimme Gimme Shock Treatment. And kudos to James for not ripping that one off.
But it's a strapless, backless, classical little black dress. Well, first you go rip, rip, rip. Then you go snip, snip, snip. Then you whip it a zip, zip, zip. I split it up to the hip, hip, hip. And as you split.
All right. It's Little Black Dress, which, I think even Coco Chanel says it works for everything. Okay, and now another movie we have talked about, and this is the Sammy Hagar version of his song called "Fast Times at Ridgemont High," as opposed to Billy Squires' "Fast Times: The Best Years of Our Lives." So.
I got this strange fascination for this chick down the hall. Reliable information, yeah. Says she ain't giving up the ball.
All right. I do, oddly enough, while I didn't like Van Hagar much at all, period, end of story, I have enjoyed far more Sammy Hagar songs than I would have thought, especially this one and the one from Heavy Metal. So go figure, right? But see, this is not a musical because the songs are almost in the background, but there's 20 songs on this soundtrack and it plays a predominant role. So I consider this one that has a musical soundtrack to it, and it very important, especially given the time frame. Although strangely enough, and I'm assuming most people have seen this, there's not a Pat Benatar song in it, which they kind of missed out on. All right. Now look, they're in. Speaking, look at the mall they're in. A three-story mall, an indoor mall. These are, as far as I know, not many of them are extant today. I mean, none around here in Fossil Bed. Everything's an outdoor mall. It was always nice when you're in the wintertime here in Fossil Bed to go to a mall and you got to go inside and there were just stores and they were all different. I remember in the 80s, by the mid 80s, especially the late 80s, the malls, all the chains had kind of taken over the malls. There were very few local stores in malls. And comic book stores used to open up and go out of business in months, if not weeks, in malls because it was not the business. Well, the business has gone downhill for actual comic books. Superheroes are more popular than ever. But all right, so we got one more song. I forgot about the Beatles and all kinds of other ones. But this one, everyone's not going to be surprised about. Oh, yeah. So, yes, Josie and the Pussycats from 2001. Best Times was it 82? Oh, I thought it was 81. Josie and the Pussycats from 2001, a big flop of a movie that's gone on to be literally a true cult movie because it's been, people have enjoyed it a lot more. And your humble agent has enjoyed Josie since these days from 1970, even though I didn't read many of the comic books. Archie wasn't my bag, but probably should have. And I may have a best of the Josie. Anyway, we will be talking about that because music, again, is essential to that movie.
Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears for hats, guitars and marshall stacks, hot, sweet, super cool, don't you know these kitties rule? Hurry, hurry.
All right, yep, that's about as much as we're going to go here. So my fellow agents, your humble agent, will be talking about one musical or a music-oriented movie. We'll do documentaries as well because I'd like to go through like X the Unheard Music and the decline and fall of Western civilization. Well, we can do parts 1 and 2. I know there's a part 3, but I haven't seen it. I've seen the other 2. So until our next musical assignment, or next gig, if you will, this is X7 signing off, and I'm phasing out.
For every band, there is a moment when they know they have made it. For one band, this is not that moment.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. You're a great crowd.
Okay, girls, we need the lane now. And your shoes.
They were 3 small-town girls with big-time dreams.
Who's a rock star? I am.
Who wanted to share their music with the world.
We can't sit around here waiting for it to happen. We are musicians. We should be out there playing music. We do play.
Nobody believed in them.
You suck.
But they believed in themselves.
We're special. Yeah, special ed.
Now, in a world of tough competition,
And that is so sad.
fate is giving the Pussycats the chance of a lifetime.
We'd love for you to sign with Mega Records.
How am I gonna pull this off? I'm a girl from Riverdale. I'm not a rock star.
You gotta believe in yourself.
Things are finally going their way. But between the mania...
Is that Josie?
They're gonna be huge.
The managers
We decide everything. What's hot and what's not.
Welcome to your party.
Who else thinks that Fiona's a freak?
and the media.
We're gonna be on TRL.
This may be the toughest gig they've ever played.
Have you noticed that everything has sort of become all about Josie?
Josie.
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 Spin around. I made you a rock star. Tell me you don't love that. Forget it.
I I never liked you.
No matter what happens, we will always be friends first.
Are you gonna kill me with the guitar?
You messed with the wrong pussycat.
My bad.
Josie and the Pussycats.